If there is someone I have to sympathize with, is this boy. My understanding is that his two co-accused need no sympathy. That is me. To me, they were crooks long ago, before they were even known or even before they became popular. These two co-accused. In my opinion, this is a case of someone finding himself in a pod of water and his friends encourage him to go into deep sea. And in his mistaken bravado, he happily goes to the deep sea. The few TikToks that I have come across were sincere and reasonable. In the few TikToks I saw of him, he was talking sense. And if I may, if you allow me to comment about them, I want to say that he was talking about shoot to kill. He was giving examples of the training that we have in Kiganjo, the justifiable instances of usage of firearm. And he was telling those people that once you are caught, then it is you alone who will face the music. I don't know whether it is music, because music is supposed to entertain the ear, isn't it? So he was telling his colleagues to stick strictly by the training manual. The ink had not even dried when Murkomen himself went against what he had earlier said. And Murkomen is not your whatever. He is both a lawyer and a former teacher in a university law school. Up to that moment, the young man was right. And the young man did not know the advice that is given to a lot of people. It is said, I'll give two examples. There is a song called Gambler. The song Gambler, they say every gambler knows when to walk away. You don't overstay your welcome. So when he talked that sense, he should have left it the way it was. But he didn't know. There is a Luhya saying that says, Omulai ahinamuse lulala. Uh, I'll translate it, but not directly. Because if I translate word by word, the meaning will be lost. Omulai ahina muse lala. It means you dance in the stage while you are still famous. Don't overstay. If you overstay, just like anything else, everything except milk. Milk is the only thing that is better, pays better when it goes bad, isn't it? Maziwa fresh na maziwa lala, fresh is cheaper than maziwa lala. But everything else, it overstays and it gets spoiled. So he overstayed. And he was also right to complain about Todonyang. If I were him, I would have gone to Todonyang under protest. He should have called a press conference, made the point that he wanted to make, and then he went to Todonyang. We are even aware that some OCS in the North Rift told Murkomen to his face. I remember there was one OCS who talked about a police constable who was transferred to his police station because he was overdrunk. But he said even as they were talking, that drunk officer is no longer alive. Imagine this is an officer in charge, an OCS, who could be the OCS Central Police Station, who could be the OCS Kamukunji, and so on. But he is an OCS in those areas, and he is contented with being an OCS there. But what this OCS is not happy about is that they brought a drunkard with the purpose of disciplining him, and they lost that drunkard. He is now in the grave. So this young man, he should have, this young man should have just gone, but under protest, because it is him who made the OCS to be bold and tell Murkomen that in future know how to deal with indiscipline, but not by bringing them to our area. I and Edward Kwalanda Huatenge have a connection to Todonyang. Both of us have experienced, have in our lives the word Todonyang to us. Who is Edward Kwalanda Huatenge? Huatenge, first of all, is Huatenge like me. He's Huatenge, son of Kwalanda, and I'm Huatenge, son of Lando. We were both named after our grandfather, our paternal grandfather. So Kwalanda named his son Edward. Lando named his son James. Edward Kwalanda Huatenge, or if you want to know him better, I call him Huatenge wa Kwalanda. And James Lando Huatenge, if you want to, my proper is Huatenge wa Lando. Now, Edward, in 1984, 83, 84, Edward Kwalanda Huatenge was transferred from Makalda police station, somewhere in South Nyanza. I've never been there. From Makalda police station, he was transferred to not Todonyang, Kamathia. He was transferred to Kamathia. For those who know Todonyang, will tell you that Todonyang is 20 times better than a Kamathia, but they are neighboring. I, on my part, 4 years later, I was transferred from West Pokot to Elmi Triangle. I was to be the intelligence officer in Elmi Triangle. That means the Huatenge family would have had 2 constables, both working in Elmi Triangle. Me working for the intelligence, and my brother of another father working at Kamathi. And Kamathi is worse than Todonyang. A person working in Todonyang being taken to Kamathi would just feel the same way as somebody working in Kamukunji police station being transferred to Todonyang. And did you know that in South Sudan, there is a town called Todenyang? The one in Kenya is Todonyang with an O. But the one in South Sudan is called Todenyang. There is an E. Todenyang and Todonyang. Now you know. He would have gone in history as the person who addressed the issue of punishment transfers. What I know and what the OCS pointed out is that we have over 90% of people working in Todonyang and all those other places, over 90% go there on posting. They go there on posting and or normal transfers. Let us now talk of the 10%. 10% go there on promotion. One, there are 3 things that make the 10%. There are those who go therefore on promotion. And there are those who come from near those places. We have some people who would want to work near their home. And if you happen to come from such areas where people don't like, and you want to work from walking distance from home, you are easily transferred there. So there are those people who work near home. Like I've just said, there are even those who, like my friend Omondi Siudu, Inspector Omondi Siudu, he was shot at Kabiria, Riruta satellite, and it was felt that he should be transferred to a place near his home area because he became a person living with his disability. So that is what I'm saying, that of the remaining 10%, there are those who go there because they are near home. There are those who go there because they want to work near there. Like when I was avoiding going there, I applied to go to Mandera. So you find that in my records, it is said that my transfer to Northeastern was voluntary. So we have people who go there on promotion. There are those who go there or voluntary, for example, near home, or they want to earn more. Like we have a lot of them during my time who would go there because of the 30% hardship allowance. And then we have less than 5% who go there on disciplinary purposes. Now, if we give the whole country the picture that anybody working in Todonyang is there because of discipline, what of those who went there? For example, you are a constable in which police station? In Kabete police station. And then you are promoted to be a corporal. A corporal is a section commander. So a section that is in a busy place like Nairobi is a bit of a challenge. So you'll be taken to a police station where a section commander has lesser authority, is lesser busy on the thing. So you start with those small stations as a section commander, and then you come to bigger stations like a section commander. For example, the OCS Central Police Station cannot, you can expect him to have, or her to have more on his desk than the OCS Todenyang. So it is really bad to highlight issues of transferring people there on disciplinary grounds. Now, supposing it is true that my calculation of 5% are there on disciplinary grounds, assuming that it is true, then what picture is the Inspector General of Police and the Minister Murkomen passing? You have a friend, you have a relative, you have a classmate, you have a neighbor who has been transferred there on promotion, who has been transferred there on his choice, who has been transferred there on very many reasons. But you concentrate on the 5%, you concentrate on 5%, less than 5%, where you advertise to all Kenyans that anybody working in Todenyang is there on disciplinary grounds. Have we ever heard of police officers being transferred to Nakuru, Machakos, or even Mukurweni police station on disciplinary matters or on punishment? So it is you, Murkomen, it is you, Inspector General, who is spoiling the names of this work. I remember when Philip Mule Kilonzo was the Commissioner of Police, he used to visit his home area. I think it is Matungulu, I'm not very sure, but somewhere in Ukambani. And he could be annoyed by the OCS himself. And you know, Philip Mule Kilonzo, when he was a senior superintendent, and that is headquarters, staffing officer headquarters Northeastern, he knew all the police formations in Northeastern. So he could take a list and write on the note on, you know, there is a duty roster on the wall. So he would write on the duty roster. The duty roster would read number so and so OCS, so and so deputy OCS, so and so crime, whatever. He would start by writing the OCS has been transferred to be the OCS Garissa. The deputy OCS has been transferred to be the deputy OCS Mandera. The OC crime has been transferred as the deputy OCS Wajia. He would transfer the whole list So everybody who was transferred to the police station near Kilonso's place knew that Northeastern is calling. Is that what Murkomen wants? Is that what uh, the Inspector General wants? That is very bad. Kop Shakur, before everything blew up, his constant flair with Gen Z was a bit hard. There are even recordings where he would go to parliament and tempt their police officers who are there on duty by even telling them, I'm a police officer like you. That was very bad. I frequent police canteens regularly, and I know what I'm saying. When you go to a police canteen and there are no civilians there, of course, I'm given that privilege of whatever. When the police officers are alone without a civilian there, if you listen to what they say, hey, Guy Fafa, you will hear them out, and they are armed. One saying one term, another one says two term, another says, oh. And I used to tell them, I was sacked because of uttering things which are less than 1% of what you're saying. But give credit to the police officers today. They do that. A whistle is blown. They are told they are to rush to do some work somewhere. And then when they are told they are to go somewhere, they forget about whatever they were differing. They go to that work they have been sent, including the agency things. And the way they were handling it, it is a person like me who knows them that I'm even attempted to go and say, so ulikuwa unatetea jinsi na mbona unawatandika hivyo. So that is what I'm saying, that with the responsibilities, some of, just like I keep on advising the president, with the responsibility, some of the things you have, keep it in your chest. Let only your maker know what you think about ABCD. Yes, police officers are citizens. They should not air their opinion publicly. What I'm trying to say here is that once you become a public officer, it's like when you are appointed an MCA. And when you are appointed an MCA, you find that the polling stations in one side of the ward did not vote for you. It does not mean that when it comes to developing the ward, you'll develop only those areas that you found you got a lot of votes, and no, you just develop them equally because you don't even know who voted for you. Some of you will even be shocked if one day you discover that your spouse may have not voted for you. So when you get a what do you call a public position, your personal views should be so much kept away that nobody would know what you are saying. Just like Raila said that there are times when Edwin Sifuna talks as Edwin Sifuna, but when it comes to matters of the ODM and he's talking like a secretary general, he should talk what the party wants him, what the party's view. I can say that because on many occasions, I have been the spokesman for the Lando family. And I can tell you that there are so many occasions when I talk of things which I even myself don't agree on it. But when I'm challenged by people, don't you think I give you could even think that I was in the forefront carrying that. If you are a spokesman for somebody or an organization, you have two things to do. One, either do what the organization wants, or two, leave that position to somebody else and start expounding on your personal view. So when you join the police, there are some things you gain and some things you lose. In fact, most of the things you lose, most of the things are the ones you lose, but gain very little. For example, you can get drunk now and start singing obscene. You can get drunk and start singing obscene language as you are drunk. But let me tell you, suppose you have a gun and you are in uniform and it has rained and you're walking and falling down in the mud. If you are in your civilians, nothing would happen. But if you are a police officer, within 30 minutes, without 30 minutes, the whole world would have. If you are a cop, if you are drunk and you walk around in dirty uniform and you have a gun, within 30 minutes, the whole world, even Saskatchewan in China, will have gotten the picture. So when you join such organization, know that there are things you are going to lose. And if you are going to lose some things, you have to understand that uh, if you are not happy about that, then get out. Let those who can fulfill the condition continue saying that. Concerning Osoi, the leader of this group, I would recommend several sessions with CRIB and NIS. CRIB, I'm a founder member of CRIB. During my time, CRIB used to be in the intelligence. CRIB used to be in the intelligence, but we recommended that it should be taken to the DCI or CID as it was known then, because that was the best place CRIB would have been there. Because when you, please don't mistake, when CRIB calls you for an interview, don't start shaking at you, maybe. No, be very sincere with them. The person gaining, you may even gain more than everybody else. Because suppose you talk to CRIB and they advise you keep off Osoi because that is an Osama bin Laden, or keep off Mackenzie. But if you go there scared, hiding everything, and so on and so forth, you may lose a lot. But being frank with CRIB, you end up being, in many cases, you end up being, especially if you are innocent, you end up being the greatest beneficiary of the session with them. CRIB means Crime, Research, and Intelligence Bureau. Bureau is an office. You are told that research, they are researching on crime. And for those of you who have been to school, you know what research means. Intelligence on crimes. They want to know the trend. I do believe, I'll not be surprised if NIS, even after surrendering CRIB to DCI, because the founding commandant of CRIB was Moses Mutali Lubisia. We did a basic course with him in November 1984. And when I was in charge of criminal intelligence in Rift Valley, he was in charge of criminal intelligence in Nyanza province as desk officers. He's the one who started that. And when the department got strong, he then went to general duties. And he became, there's even a time when he was the county police boss in Turkana. So, but I would not be surprised. I would even recommend that NIS also retains a department similar to CRIB within it. It is good for NIS and CRIB to be sharing intelligence, especially on criminal trends. Because I've seen from where I am that in many cases, people end up in the wrong hands, like in a Mackenzie, after a long time. But if CRIB and NIS can monitor such things, they can know how to do the action before they become serious. Those are my personal opinion, and I stand by them because I know they are the best one. I want also to say that the NIS desk officer in charge of religion affairs in Coast Province must have ignored Mackenzie on several occasions. If he would have opened his eyes properly, he would have monitored Mackenzie so much that it would even have been possible for not even a single person to die. You see, Mackenzie was ahead of his time because, oh, we have been told today is when somebody in Kenya said the world is going to end. Such people are supposed to be monitored ahead. Mackenzie was even ahead of the NIS because he knew that Russia has nuclear weapons. So he calculated that if Russia tries to use its nuclear, the world will end, and that is how he was using that. For somebody with a little education like Mackenzie, reaching that occasion, and we have a government department fully funded and stuffed with personnel with good morale. I don't know why they did not see it, but I can only guess that when the NIS started concentrating on recruiting people with a diploma level and the degrees, that is where they failed. Because just like the military, KDF, we have two levels. Graduates and so on, they join as cadet officers. And the people with little or with less, let me say less, forgive me if I may sound rude, but people with little education, they end up starting off as servicemen. A person who has never been to standard 8, coming from those remote areas, can collect very good intelligence. I remember as a Form 6 constable in Mandera, I used to write intelligence reports for senior sergeants who were constables with my father. Because whenever we would talk, he would say, hey, mtoto ya rafiki yangu. That is what they used to say, mtoto ya rika yangu. And we would discuss with them. They would tell me what the intelligence is, and then I would use, they used to tell me, tumia hiyo kizungu yako mingi mingi. So I would use that kizungu yangu mingi mingi to write a very good intelligence report. And then the senior sergeant would just thumbprint it. And those intelligence reports used to go ahead. Sorry, I never wrote my name there, so there's no way they could be traced to me. I would just write this belongs to number this and this senior sergeant Abdullah bin whatever, and they got a lot of whatever. So I think where the NIS failed is insisting on employing graduates. Employing graduates. Nobody understands that. Nobody appreciates it more than me, because during my time, less than 10 we we completed Kiganjo when we were 272 recruits, of which only 5 were Form 6s. But even when I was a Form 6 constable, you find that the whole county, I was the only constable who was Form 6. But I appreciated the importance of people with little or no education on the gathering of intelligence. We used to coordinate in such a way that mine was to transfer that information into written, into an English that somebody in Nairobi could understand. But when the NIS started looking for graduates, okay, the salary is good, I understand, and whatever. But then to motivate people. But then Oshago, hmm, those places where you have to read between the lines, we still need people who are locals and who can understand the meaning of things between the line. So that is why I think where the NIS went wrong, and that is why people like Mackenzie succeeded, because Mackenzie looked, you know, it is better to be not educated or overeducated. They say little of anything is dangerous. Now people with small education now were being told, unaona sasa Russia itachukua hizi vitu zinaitwa nini, nuclear, italipa, dunia inaenda kuisha, sasa sisi wacha tuende tupate Yesu. But if we could have found somebody from those shakahola place, somebody with a standard 7 education, he would have entered those groups and would have even himself joined them and started writing reports from there, or have 3 or 4 people there who would brief him regularly. But starting from Brigadier Boynet, he felt that he needed people with a diploma in education and degrees. That is where the rain started beating us. Back to Osoi, I think, is it Osoi? He comes from those Kinanyamira place, Nyasore place. Osoi may be another Mackenzie, but on another level. I saw him talking with confidence at the shooting range. I got an impression that he's a brainwasher. He has this very good qualification of a brainwasher. It is that confidence that is still disturbing me up to the time of recording this. When dealing with somebody who has cheated even himself, I get concerned. You see, Osoi has even cheated himself. You could see the confidence that he was talking at the range. I remember one video where Mackenzie talked of uh, I remember not I remember where Mackenzie was having a preaching session with some of the people, and he was nobody even provoked him. He just said somebody has gone to spread the word of God, and he came back home and found his child starving. Then he talks and people cheered. Kwani kakikufa kuna ubaya gani? Telling people kakikufa kuna ubaya gani? Yesu aliyekupatia kwa katoto hakujua kanataka chakula na hakutaka kukapatia chakula. Yesu aliyekupatia ako katoto na anajua kana njaa na anakubali kukachukua, si ndiye anajua. So you see, when we have such people among us, then we are in a very dangerous place, and that is why we should have even had people in the NIS monitoring those people. You see, a lot of intelligence don't come from Runda. The intelligence that comes from Runda is the intelligence of overthrowing the government. The intelligence that comes from Runda is the intelligence of smuggling and such big things. But intelligence of brainwashing people comes from slums, My concern here is the confidence and ability to look into the eyes of citizens and lead them to death. That is what worries me most. And that is how I'm seeing it that way. We should have a situation where, like this Osoi has, okay, I cannot talk about Kop Shakur because Kop Shakur aliharibika zamani, but mine is concerning this other one, who in the initial say he was very clear and whatever, where he was telling his colleagues in a very simplified way and in a very good way that they should not follow illegal orders. After all, what gives the police officer the authority to kill a demonstrator? I would quickly say what they are. One, the training that you had in Kiganjo, the training in Kiganjo. Are these circumstances similar to what you are told in Kiganjo, that if things reach that level, you shoot? If if on the way you reason and see that this is the scenario that our teachers in Kiganjo foresaw and taught us on justifiable means of firearm use, then use it. I am yet to find a police officer who used a firearm justifiably as he was taught in Kiganjo, and then things turned to him. There could be, but I'm yet to get one. So the first thing that should dictate for you to shoot and kill a demonstrator is go back to Kiganjo. There are two lessons you are taught. There was one which was called PPT, and another one was called at a faculty called PPPPF. Both talked of. And then there was a third one. The drill instructors taught you on riot drills. They taught you on riot drills. If you use that in a split second and look at that whatever, and then you come to a conclusion that this is a justifiable thing, nothing will happen to you. Nothing will happen to you. That is one thing that will dictate for you on how to use a firearm. Another thing is your officer in charge, the officer who has been assigned to control you during the control of riot. When he tells you shoot, and in your opinion, in both of you, the opinion is truly justifiable. Because let me give you an example. There is a demonstration, because this is not a top government secret. It happens. Musamali told Dr. Kingori recently in the shoot, there are times when you are controlling the crowd and you notice a very funny character. Let me give an example. Two. There are 20. I'll give you just two. People are demonstrating. People are rioting, which is okay. Rioting is okay. Why? Take the example of a vehicle driving very fast it hits a child and kills the child. Remember, you, the police officer, is trained to restrain yourself. The civilians are not trained to restrain themselves. So they are annoyed that a hit and run has hit a child, a school-going kid, standard 3 or 4. The kid has died. Then they act out of nature. You as a police officer will understand. They are not acting well, but because the kid has been hit, you'll restrain yourself. So there are some things that you cannot be instructed. You just look at the circumstances and you understand. But then, during the demonstration, I said the civilians are not trained to restrain themselves, but you have been trained to restrain yourself. And as you are restraining yourself, you notice two people. You notice one person who is inciting the others. That is the work of the inspector. The inspector says, yule mtu amevaa t-shirt ya wrestling, piga moja, such and such a place. It is that inspector who tells you where to shoot and whom to shoot. It is not for Ruto to tell you, piga ye mguu moja. No. It is even when people in Murkomen is talking of people who are banned inside the police cells. It is not the duty of the minister for police to determine. If you are in the report office and they start banning the whatever, you shoot. You shoot to kill. That is what you are taught. The topic was justifiable circumstances of shooting. So the police officers who were in that police station where even the suspects who are, and you know, there's even a lot of things that have gone bad. We have statements, we have files, we have whatever. For example, somebody was hit. There's a case, an assault case, and somebody went to the hospital and he was treated, and the P3 is in the file, and the file gets banned. So police officers are taught. They know. You don't need to tell them. They know justifiable instances of shooting to kill and shooting to maim and whatever. They don't need any instructions from the president. They don't need any instructions from a politician or the minister for. The minister, the cabinet secretary has said, and it is obvious, he has only one boss. By the way, people don't know that. He's answerable to the president. And tomorrow, if the president wants to kick him out, the president wish. There is no place where they say the president has to consult anybody. But the police are trained on how to. They know. Even a recruit who completed his course yesterday, he knows justifiable instances of firearm usage, including the killing. But then, during the demonstration, one of the person, according to the inspector, says, "Unaona, do you see that fellow with the WWE referee t-shirt?" Yes. Huyo macho ine huyo. Risasi moja kwa kifua. That is what they were taught. So, there is no need of anybody, including me, trying to teach a police what he was taught. And as I've said several times, you keep yourself to the training that you are done. I am yet, could be there is cases, but I am yet to get a case where somebody has used the law justifiably and has ended up in problems. No, it never happened, and maybe it has never happened. And if it has happened, I have never come across such a thing. That is one thing I said. Where the inspector during the demonstration, he notices that there is one person who does, and the inspector points that person. What for the third time I'll say, that fellow with the WWE t-shirt na macho ine, piga risasi moja. That is one example. Another example, because I said there are over 20. We have had cases where you just know that they are looters. We just have got information that looters usually go and use that opportunity to loot. If the police notice that, if you shoot somebody who is carrying a 20-liter jerrycan of Elianto, you shoot him. Kwani ataachilia hiyo Elianto? So he'll die while holding, clenching onto the Elianto. Now tell me, who in Kenya, tell me any person who in Kenya can come up and say, no, that demonstrator was shot while holding an Elianto. And you see, in a demonstration, you going to a supermarket, stealing there Elianto and coming out. My friend, that is robbery with violence. Robbery with violence, and robbery with violence invites a shoot to kill. And shoot to kill, even the OCS in the police station cannot give that up. It is the senior most officer on the ground who, in his own or her own opinion, that the firearms are justifiable. It is examples such as this that gives wazee kama sisi an opportunity to share what is happening. But as I've said to any serving police officer or whatever, just say things are wrong with me. There are occasions when things go bad for you. You protest and follow the law. In the police records, it was said that it was wrong for me to be sacked and I'm supposed to be reinstated. Then the same police did not reinstate me. Have I gone to the police station and started lighting bonfire there? I just clicked to the letter, which corrected me that I was wrongly. So you make your point and move on. After all, when you insist, things may change. Ama.